trying to take Maduro out of office and get control of the largest oil reserve in the world. What kind of president calls somebody in the house of another, Guaido, and tells him, you can be the next president? But Maduro was voted in. You say, well, it wasn't a free and fair election. Do you remember Jimmy Carter? He'd been watching elections, over 104 of them. And he said, I'm quoting the former president, he said that the voting in Venezuela is some of the best that he has seen in 104 countries where he has looked at elections. Now, I don't know the truth, but I think Jimmy Carter has no reason to lie on Maduro. But you see, when you're a hustler, when you're a thief, when you want to take the oil, remember how the president, when he was running, he said, let's take the oil in Iraq. Take it. See, but your hands will get chopped off today because you're not the power that you think you are. I think, Mr. President, you would be wise to leave President Maduro alone. Now, they're trying to overthrow this man, even if it means sending us to war. I respectfully say to the president, I cannot back you if you're going to send American soldiers to war to die because you want that man out of power and you're meddling in the affairs of his country. I don't think no young soldier should go.
Greetings from the east to north to south, and this wicked ass west. The topic: America's pride has deceived her. The questions: why do you think America cannot stay at home? Let's get into it. I am your host. I am the one.
You know, we live in America. And these good Christian people right here, these people will tell you this is a Christian nation. But they can't seem to discern what's happening here in America. They can't seem to see what the Bible prophecy is really telling them, because they negate the fact that what the Bible is telling them is talking about them. The book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 3. If you pick your Bible up and just read and say to yourself, self, who are they talking about? The book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 3. It goes into the pride of their heart has deceived them. Who, what nation are they talking about? The book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 5. It reads like this. They never stay at home or never keepeth at home. What nation on this planet cannot stay at home? They must enter into every other nation's territory and take their natural resources. All you good Christian people, read that. Let's go to the next clip.
We're getting out of the nation-building business.
We must abandon the failed policy of nation building and regime change.
Our current strategy of nation building and regime change is a proven absolute failure.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition.
Is the United States running Venezuela right now? What we are running is the direction that this is going to move moving forward. And that is, we have leverage. This leverage we are using and we intend to use.
Don't ask me who's in charge, because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
It means we're in charge. Colombia is very sick too, run by a sick man.
So there will be an operation by the U.S. and
It sounds good to me. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. Cuba looks like it's ready to fall. I don't know if they're going to hold out.
Are you considering U.S. action in Cuba?
We're not. I think it's just going to fall. I don't think we need any action. It looks like it's going down. It's going down for the count.
One thing we know for a fact is the president, you cannot believe not one word that he says, because he lies all the time. First, he says, okay, regime change it's unprofitable. We're not going to do that anymore. And then what he do is he turn around, he does the same thing he said he's not going to do. And the countries that he decide that he want to take over, it makes no sense. Let me read the list. They went into Venezuela. Okay. First of all, he say, I'm not going to do that. It's not about oil. They're drug dealers. So he went in. Now it's about oil. Cuba, you're next, according to him. Colombia, what did they do to you? I'm assuming they're next. Mexico, he wants Mexico as well. Then he turned around, which really surprised a lot of people. It's good Christian nation, Greenland. This good Christian nation. He decided, okay, I want that too. So one thing we know for a fact is he is a warmonger. And he wanted the Nobel Peace Prize. And even the person that they gave the Peace Prize to is a warmonger. Let's go to the next clip.
How long do you expect the U.S. to run Venezuela?
So I'd like to do it quickly, but it takes a period of time. You know, we're rebuilding. We have to rebuild their whole infrastructure. The infrastructure is rotted. It's actually very dangerous. It's blow up territory. Oil is very dangerous. It's a very dangerous thing to take out of the ground. It can kill a lot of people. It has killed a lot of people doing just that. The infrastructure is old. It's rotted. Much of it is stuff that we put there 25 years ago, and we're going to be replacing it. And we're going to take a lot of money out so that we can take care of the country. Yeah.
Okay, so this whole thing about the oil, because that's what everything is coming down to, which just it shreds any of this crap claim that we were there about democracy or freedom for the people or even drugs, even keeping ourselves safe. None of this was ever about that. It was about oil. And he spent that whole press conference like 50 times talking about oil. Talking to oil experts, and by the way, we're going to have a show, I think on Thursday, where we're going to look detailed into that so people can get a deep dive on that. It's going to be somewhere between 10 and 15 years of significant investment in billions of dollars to even get that from the current around $1 million or 1 million barrels per day up to the 3 million barrels per day, which is what it was here in the past. So you're talking about a very long situation if we can avoid what you said a minute ago in any kind of an insurgency, because there's some elements that will have motivation to make sure it doesn't progress in a peaceful way. And they'll want to throw monkey wrenches into that situation here. But you see here the opposite of the Monroe Doctrine. And I agree with you that headline, that subhead you had on the Sonar21.com piece, that you bet 99% of Americans don't know what it is. And I think that's probably right, because most people just use the Monroe Doctrine, meaning we're running the hemisphere and everybody has to stay the hell out. And as you point out, that's not what it said. But now then we're being the Polk Doctrine. I think that this validates what you just said.
Yeah. In fact, we're going to take Panama. We're going to take Colombia. You know, if Colombia doesn't shut up and do what we say, by God, we're going to do to Colombia what we did to Venezuela and Greenland. Hey, Denmark, go screw yourself. We're taking Greenland. Who does this sound like? This sounds more like Adolf Hitler in the 1930s.
Dude, I just made that point on my previous show today. I know it's ugly to say, but I mean, you're doing it yourself independently. That's the evidence is there.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, what is if a world leader is talking about taking other territory, regardless of what the people of that territory believe, and enforcing their will, we're calling Putin a dictator for his actions in Ukraine. But there's ways, we can at least explain that why Russia felt threatened. But Greenland, since when was Greenland threatening the United States?
According to certain numbers, America is between $38 to $40 trillion in the hole. So where is all this money coming from to enter these endless wars? War after war after war. The typical American person is broke. Credit card debt, living paycheck to paycheck. There's no money flowing for the typical American. So how can they afford this? Foundational Black Americans asking for reparations. But they'll tell you with a straight face, there's no money. So where in the world is this money coming from? If you enter conflict after conflict after conflict. Let's go to the final clip.
And what Trump's actions are increasingly seen as threatening, bombastic, and bullying. It's not, nations aren't lining up saying, oh God, man, United States is great, let's be friends with them. It's just the opposite.
Yeah.
India, what you have right now between Russia, India, China, and Brazil, South Africa's economy really isn't that important, but with the entire BRICS lash up, you've got a stronger economic group by far in terms of GDP, economic growth, low debt to GDP ratios compared to the G7. The BRICS is outpacing the G7 by miles, and the G7 is actually extremely weak. So this effort on the part of the United States to isolate and punish Russia, I think, is really backfiring. And the events of this last week, I think, will be seen in retrospect as another watershed moment. Not only did the United States participate in an effort to kill Vladimir Putin, but the Chinese were also humiliated by the United States. Remember, the Chinese diplomat who's in charge of Latin America and the Caribbean, he had a chat with Maduro about 12 hours before the attack, and then talking about cooperation, Chinese funding. China was buying oil from Venezuela, not so much because it needed Venezuelan oil, but it was like, help them out. Make sure that help them circumvent the sanctions and such. So the Chinese are going to view this with great outrage. So the West is hoping that somehow Russia is isolated and on the outs, but I think it's just the opposite. It's the United States is headed in that direction.
I think Maya Angelou once said, if a person shows you who they are, believe them. We have events that's happening, one after the next after the next. So the smart thing anybody can do is to make preparations, because this is not looking good. You must be a plumb idiot if you don't make preparations. Thank you for watching. I'm your host. I am the one.